So I played a lot of my games in my time, ranging from games like this to ranging from games that I wish I can jump off a cliff saying that I have never played this. But I have never talked about games on my channel before. Well, that's an absolute lie. I have, but I never really got to see what... Basically what I'm trying to say is that I never talk about games that I have played without giving... I don't really know. I don't really know how to talk about this. So, what I'm just going to say, here are some of the games that I've played throughout the year. I think some of them very recently. Well, literally, I'm just going to be talking about games that I've played, a few of them specifically, because why not? Also, I would like to mention, I have not been any of these games. Well, we'll talk about Devil May Cry because it's a little interesting, being the fact that I've only been one of the games, while the other one I've only completed one part of it. So yeah, let's get going. Starting off, we have Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Now, I originally thought I was never going to get into this series, mostly because of the fact that I wasn't really too fond of the murder mystery aspect of the game, where you try and collect evidence in order to present it in court, which is the other half of the game that pretty much makes up the main part of the game. I thought it really wasn't going to be... I thought I wasn't gonna like the murder mystery aspect of it, although I have made exceptions to murder mystery games in the past, or specifically the Danganronpa games, in which I view very fondly, mostly because of its story and characters. So imagine my shock when I find the Pursuit Corner theme on YouTube. Well, a remix of it, and I was absolutely mind blown. And I can easily say, I easily loved the track, which more or less motivated me to play the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney games. I popped in the first one, and oh my god, I was just blown away on what did I just come across. What the fuck did I just witness? I'm not gonna go into a lot of depth of these games because I'm not done with it, so I'm just gonna be explaining what have I experienced throughout the time that I've been playing through the game. As of right now, I have currently gone through the first case of the game, aka the tutorial of it. Now, I have played the second case, most of it, but unfortunately I accidentally corrupted my save file. Well, corrupted is more... I more or less lost my save file. I don't know how did I do that, but yeah, I had to start all over. So technically I could talk up to the second case, but I'm not going to. The game, being the fact that the gameplay is split into two segments. The main part of the game mostly takes place with its court, where you're trying to find contradiction. And more or less, yeah, I don't feel like explaining this. I really cannot explain this myself, because trust me, I'm terrible at explaining things, so play the games yourself. So I don't feel like explaining any of it. And honestly, I think it was pretty easy to come to terms with. Like, I've seen other videos of people playing the Ace Attorney game, so I had kind of more or less, like, I more or less knew what was going to happen. Not in terms of story, I meant by gameplay. Like, I knew what I was getting myself into in terms of gameplay. Story, however, I was not prepared. Because holy shit, is it good. Like, it's bizarre to say. Like, it's very outlandish. Like, it gets insane at certain parts. Like, hell, you literally talk to a freaking radio. And a bird. A bird! Yeah, this game's automatically a 10 out of 10. So far, my current thoughts of the game they're pretty positive, I'd say. I do intend on going through the other games, like the other two games in the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy, the Apollo Justice trilogy, the Great Ace Attorney games, plus the crossover between Layton and Phoenix Wright. I have also heard that's pretty good. Also, Miles Edgeworth, because, let's face it, he's my favorite, not surprisingly. Alright, moving on to... Alright, I forgot I can't play this song because copyright. Alright. Yeah, Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet is, interesting to say. I have seen the original show and I absolutely love it. Yeah, no, fucking come after me, I'm a Sword Art Online. Yeah, I like Sword Art Online. Yeah, just banish. Yeah, no, I'd rather just see my subscriber count go to automatic fucking 0. Just for me saying that, I'm joking, I'm pretty sure some other people also like SAO. But yeah, I have seen the original show and I liked it. And of course, I like the GGO arc. Like many other people, to the point that, you know what, why don't we just make a game that takes place in Gun Gale Online, and let's see how that fares. Let's just say out of every single SAO game, besides Fractal Daydream, which comes out, I don't know when it comes out. Oh, I'll probably just have it on screen on when it comes out, or whatever. Yeah, no. Out of every SAO game that that anyone has played, Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet is probably the fan favorite out of everyone. And currently, I don't see it. Like, I absolutely don't see why everyone likes this game so much. Like, it's complicated on how I want to talk about this. Because, certain hands, I kinda like it. But on others, I clearly don't. The reason why I actually started playing Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet was mostly for its story and gameplay. And currently, I am not impressed with the story. Like, there is just, like... And out of every single game that I've played that's going to be mentioned in this video, Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet probably has the least amount of playtime for me. In fact, all the footage that you're going to be seeing in this video from SAO Fatal Bullet, that's all that I have for it. Like, I don't have anything else for the game in terms of my own footage. So, yeah, let's talk about the story. You thought I was going to talk about the story? Yeah, no. Honestly, the story is, so far, it's just, meh. Like, it's not too impressive. Like, it's mostly reliant on fan service, I'd say, because there are a lot of characters. Like, too many, in fact. Honest to God, I did not want to see every single character that you will see in SAO Fatal Bullet in just one room. Like, it's actually... Oh my god, it would just hurt my brain to even think about it. And let's just say there is a lot of exposition, and a lot of dialogue, and a bunch of fucking load times. But when we actually do get to play the game, yeah, it's a third-person shooter, I'd say. It's a third-person looter shooter, that's all I'm gonna say. And the only other looter shooter I'm gonna say, this is an unfair comparison between this game and Borderlands 2, which I'm not going to, so I'm not gonna compare those two in terms of looter shooters. But honestly, yeah, I'd say the game's just overall, like, decent. I'm just gonna say I'm more or less mixed, and I'm just gonna say it's decent. That's pretty much all I have to say for SAO Fatal Bullet. Also, you might have noticed the fact that what I'm wearing is actually a DLC outfit, alongside with my AI companion, being the fact that I bought the complete edition for sale. In fact, fun fact, I got all these games on sale that I mentioned in the video, I didn't buy them full price, I'm not insane. So yeah, got a pretty good deal on the Complete Edition for SAO Fatal Bullet, so yeah. Now moving on to the last game that I'm going to be mentioning in this video, well, last games, plural, are the Devil May Cry games. But but for this video, I'm gonna point some things out. First off, all the footage that you're gonna be seeing from DMC 5 is gonna be a mix between my gameplay with Nero and Virgil. Meaning that I have only gone through Virgil's route of the story and not the main route where you switch between Nero, V, and Dante. So most of the footage that you're going to be seeing is from Virgil with some Nero sprinkled in. Also, I have not played DMC 2 outside of emulation, so yeah, I'm not going to even mention DMC 2 because it's DMC 2. And like I said in the intro, I'm not going to be talking about POC because yeah, I don't feel like talking about that game any further. So let's move on to Devil May Cry 1. My current feelings and my current thoughts and feelings on the first game, I'd say overall they're pretty positive. I am currently on mission 5, which yeah, what the hell did I just say? Yeah, I'd say my overall I keep messing up words. My overall current thoughts and feelings on DMC 1, I'd say they're pretty positive, I'd say. Being that this was the first game, and so it's more or less the framework on what other games would follow. And I'd say it's decent. It most certainly shows its age, and how it has aged very fucking horribly. Yeah, certain parts of this game are not as good, especially with the fact that DMC 3 and 5 exist, and 4, and Reboot. Yeah, this game has aged really well, but I'd say it's a pretty good first entry, I'd say. Okay, before we move on to DMC 3, because I am skipping DMC 2, is that like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video, because in all honesty, hey, I plan on talking about more games. Like, I plan on talking about more games like this. Also, I will like to mention the only reason why I'm not going into these games more in depth is because I plan on individually reviewing these games when I am done. So yeah, and I have said that I do plan on reviewing each DMC game individually, so I'm not going to go too in depth with them. I'm just going to be explaining my current thoughts and feelings in them in a more short, condensed version. Like, I'm not going to be talking about them too much. Like, I'm just going to be explaining, hey, here are my current thoughts and feelings on it right now in a more short version of it. So yeah, because in all honesty, I don't plan on creating like a fucking 1 hour essay. I simply do not have the time for that one. Like, I simply just straight up do not have the time for that right now. So anyway, moving on to DMC 3. Devil May Cry 3 is probably the one game that I have the most time spent into, because I have been both Dante and Virgil's campaign back when I was emulating this using Aether SX2. Before that got defunct, and now we have Nether SX2. I'd just like to mention that, but yeah, no. I have played through both DMC 3 with Dante and Virgil, and I'm currently going through the game on the HD collection now, and I have just been Agni Rudra, which is actually probably a video somewhere on my channel. So yeah, somewhere on my channel you can spot a video of me fighting Agni and Rudra. That's where I'm currently at with DMC 3. Overall, my current thoughts and feelings on the game are pretty solid. The game's just fucking fantastic. Meaning that it's the first game to include styles, well, fully include styles, unlike DMC 2 with its dodge roll and shit. And also, we have the full realization of weapon switching instead of, just switching your guns. Instead of just switching guns and shit. I honestly don't even know what the hell you're even talking about. And then also, with Special Edition, it includes Virgil as a playable character. And do we need to talk about what? And do we need to talk about the Nintendo Switch version where you practically can wield every single weapon in your arsenal, plus all 4 styles. I can bet that DMC 3 Dante is a lot more complicated than DMC 4, I'm joking. But in reality, the fact that you can wield every weapon in 3SE for Switch, then 4S. Let's just move on to DMC 4, now that I'm actually talking about DMC 4. DMC 4, I'd say, is probably the most interesting game I'm going to be talking about, I'd say. Because it's the one game where I kind of didn't like when I first played it. In fact, I played it for a little bit, I kind of got bored, or went to play the other games, and when I went back to it, I don't know why, I just didn't like it. Like, I didn't like playing as Nero with the fact that he only has one gun, one weapon, and he has his buster. Like, I didn't know what to do with Nero, but the more I played as him, he more or less grew onto me. His gameplay is pretty fun. Like, I'm not gonna be pulling out max exceeds. He's like out of nowhere. Like, I'm not gonna be doing some crazy stuff. But it was more or less fine. But when I got to DMC 4 Dante, let's just say I did not like playing as him. Like, the moment that I loaded up Mission 14, I was in for a brutal reality check, meaning that I had access to all 4 styles, so I ended loading up with 3 weapons, that being Rebellion, Ebony and Ivory, and the Coyote Ace shotgun. For like 3 weapons, okay, but adding on 4 styles, all being accessible at once, that's where we kind of draw the line, especially with the fact that DMC 4 Dante is a little bit more faster than 4. That DMC 4 Dante is a little bit more faster than 3, so yeah. Also, you have access to Devil Trigger immediately for Dante instead of you going through DMC 3 without it until you fight Virgil 1, and then you have it for the rest of the game. So yeah, but I was in for a massive reality check with DMC 4 Dante, and let's just say I did not like playing as him. Honestly, having all 4 styles once, it was mostly the fact that I had all 4 styles unlocked, where it more or less became very overwhelming with the amount of options that I had. And honestly, I did not like that. Like, I preferred more simplified gameplay like Nero and DMC 3 Virgil, alongside 4 and 5. He was a little overwhelming for me. I'd say my overall thoughts on the game currently, they're pretty mixed, but overall more on the positive side instead of SAO Fatal Bullet, where it's mixed, but on the negative side. So yeah. And now let's move on to DMC Reboot, where I have some things to say about the game.
So am I.
I think the second game that I probably poured the most time into would be Devil May Cry. The Devil May Cry Reboot. In the fact that it's the one game where I actually feel like I could legitimately combo and not feel like an absolute crap doing it. Being the fact that at first the combat felt very wrong, I'd say. Being that I was coming from the main series with certain moves and stuff, with like this, switching weapons was easy, and yada yada. But the moment that I got Arbiter, I realized that the controls felt very wrong. Meaning that in order to access your Angel and Demon weapons, you have to hold either LT/R2 or RT/R2. You can switch. Then also you can switch between using either Osiris and Aquila, Aerix and Arbiter, Ebony and Ivory and Revenant, and with the D-pad. You can only by pressing once left, right, or up. So yeah, it was a little weird getting used to that. But once I adjusted, honestly, it felt weird going back to the main series because the combat in that felt weird. So going from main series to reboot was weird, but then going from reboot to main series was also weird. But honestly, out of every single game's combat besides 5, I'd say reboot is probably one of my favorites. It has a like, it's unique, I'd say. It had the combo game of 4, I'd say, a little less, I'd say, but the speed of 3, I'd say. Like, it's a mix between 3 and 4 for me. Like, I don't know really how to describe it. Like, I think that's the one thing that I actually like about Reboot. It's mostly the combat. The story can go down a hole for all I care about. It's weird, confusing, and honest to God, the most, I'd say, edgelord fest that I have ever seen. And let's just say, yeah, it's pretty unanimous that everyone hates the story. Or let's move on to 5. I'm just gonna say, oh, the thoughts and feelings for the game are pretty solid when we're not discussing the story.
Nero is my son.
Yeah, dumbass. You can't remember through that thick skull of yours?
Well, well. That was a long time ago.
I guess you were young once too. As much as I'd love to hear that story, I think it's about time we
ended this.
Devil May Cry 5 is probably the most interesting, I'd say, because this is actually the first. Then again, I actually knew about Devil May Cry's existence way before I played the games. You know, I had seen the trailer for Devil May Cry 5 during the Xbox showcase at E3 2018, and honestly, even though I wasn't a DMC fan at the time, I was hyped for this game. Unfortunately, I did not have an Xbox One, PS4, or PC at the time, so I couldn't even play it. And fast forward now, I have played it, and my god, I wish I had played this game a lot more sooner. Although I probably would have waited for the special edition, which basically improves the visuals, but also includes Virgil. It includes Legendary Dark Knight. Yeah, and overall, I love this game, I'd say. I have gone through Virgil's campaign, and I haven't gone through Nero v. Dante, aka practically going through the main story as them, but overall, I'd say if I have as much enjoyment as Virgil, playing as Virgil, then I probably have as much fun as going through v. Nero and Dante. So yeah, these are my current thoughts and feelings on some of these games like Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Sword Online, Fatal Bullet, and the Devil May Cry games. I do plan on talking about more games in the future. In fact, I'm just going to say it right now. One of the games I'm going to be talking about, if I do a video style like this, is obviously going to be including Persona 3, which is one of my favorite Persona games in the entire series. Like, I tried playing, yeah, sure, most people got into the series with 5. Me, and that was kind of true for me. Like, I've seen the anime for 5, and I was like, that's pretty solid. I might check it out. Never did it until Persona 3 Reload. Although, thankfully, I knew about Persona via Joker getting into Smash. Anyway, yeah, no. Like and subscribe, and fuck, I forgot my own outro.